This is a pretty informal meeting. I'm a pretty informal person just in general, so please feel free to, ask questions. Anything that pops in your head, you don't have to wait till the next slide or whatever, all that stuff. And I can go as fast or as slow as you guys want. So kind of the way I have is like the slides are set up to be kind of a quick overview. And then there's some more detailed slides about the itinerary towards the end, so that if you're looking like they're like, I need to go, that's totally cool. And I totally understand that. We're not supposed to get more than 2 to 4. So it's not going to keep going all day, I promise. I'm a snow person. I know these things. So anyway. And if you need me to talk louder, quieter, slower, faster, whatever, just holler. And I'd be happy to do so. So I'm going to do this little quick video thing because it's kind of fun to see if I can make it actually work. Will it go? Dun, dun, dun. This is their little fun promo video about kind of what EF tours are like if you haven't been on one before. They're just kind of fun. Yes, you get a backpack.
Hello,
It's this year's backpack. I'll help you with that. It's really all you need, really, is clean underwear and a credit card.
Yeah.
That's in Costa Rica. We'll be doing that in 2 weeks. Can you guys see if I stand here? Come on in. You guys are just in time. Hey there. There you go.
You don't understand the please.
We're going to Europe, so that's pretty good. Just a fun way to kind of introduce some of the places that they go and some of the fun. I mean, these EF trips that they go on or that we get to go on are busy, hectic, frenetic, lots of stuff happening, nonstop, end-to-end, packed with things to do. And one of the coolest things about it is that it's a really cool opportunity, to see a bunch of really cool places. And parents, if you're here, you kind of know, what's out there in the world. And our young people don't necessarily know that yet. But then the other thing about it is that they get to experience that with each other. There's one thing about experiencing something like that with your parents. I went on an EF tour in 1986 with my mom. They still offer the same tour, actually, which is really cool. It's an amazing trip. And it was really, really cool. But there's something different about being able to go with your friends and have that experience and see the world through their eyes, through each other's eyes. That just makes it such a really cool process that I think is what makes EF tours just a little bit different maybe than some of the other, family vacations that we can plan or do. Because I've taken my kid on some places too, and it's a little different. Like I said, going on a tour like this when it's kids with other kids rather than kids with adults. It just makes a little bit of a different style. So you guys know where we're going. We're going to, hopefully, Europe, if you get to go with me. Here's a couple places we get to go if you haven't seen. This is Europe. Canada's over here. Okay, just make sure, right? To make sure. Yeah, okay. So anyway, so this particular stop has got the 4 big destinations to it. It's London, Paris, and then it's Lucerne, and then Munich, Germany are the 4 places that we get to go in this particular one, plus kind of the places in between. So in terms of kind of the place that we go, the little itinerary I gave, and you can look all this stuff up online. It's got a variety of different stops, and I kind of picked this one because it does have a couple of the big highlight cities. Like if you could pick a city to go to in the world, for a lot of people, one of those cities is Paris or London, or sometimes it's Barcelona or other ones. So I tried to pick a tour that had kind of some of those big name places, and then a couple other places that maybe wouldn't necessarily be as obvious, but can be just as different as some of those ones that are in there. So we get to go see a variety of the coolest sites in the world. What? Will your phone work over there? Your phone will work over there if you have an international calling plan on it. Texting works everywhere. Or you can use like Wi-Fi, that kind of stuff. So there's texting plans. I actually have super cheap. Yeah, you don't want to take a phone with you anyway. I have super cheap like minutes that you can kind of add on for international emergency calling, but you don't want to be on your phone a bunch. You really don't. There's Wi-Fi. Yeah, so there's Wi-Fi. You go. Anyway, so like I said, some of the cool spots that we get to go. Obviously, Big Bad Paris. This is actually. Oh man, I've got it wrong. It's either Lucerne or Munich, obviously. Shoot, that's Lucerne, right, with the lake. Yeah. Thank you. And then this is like, I'm not sure where this one is. It's kind of funny. This is supposed to be Munich, but I'm not sure which part of Munich this is. It's not a common thing that I've seen in there. So maybe it's a more modern version of what they got going on in Munich. Oh, really? Really? Okay, there we go. I didn't know there was fancy stuff to it. And then a couple of cool things about it, again, just quick highlights of the itinerary. A lot of it's getting to go see those classic things, hopefully like changing of the guard. You're talking about going to Piccadilly Circus. What? Can we go in the Louvre? Yes, actually in Paris. As long as we're not there on a Tuesday. We can. It's closed on Tuesday. Random fact, I know, but it's closed on Tuesday. You get to eat food in all these different places, but yeah, we should be able to get to go in the Louvre. We get to go in Notre Dame for sure. I don't know that depends on if we go up the Eiffel Tower, depends on kind of the day and timing and kind of what the group decides and how much free time we have there. And then we get to go to, it's not on here. I cannot say this. Neuschwanstein, something along those lines. How do you say it? Neuschwanstein. Neuschwanstein. Yes, I like it. The fairy tale castle. I mean, that's like the classic castle. If you picture a castle in your head, that's that one. And that's actually right on the border between Switzerland and Germany. Yeah. We get to go to Lake Lucerne, and we get to go up into the actual Alps and see some big mountains as opposed to our amazing mountains here. But I get to go see a variety of that. Olympic Stadium. We get to go to the Hofbrauhaus and have giant Bavarian pretzels apparently, and just see a variety of stuff. Lots of good food. Lots of bad food, but lots of good food too. So, it's kind of a part of the whole tour stuff like that. So again, basic overview. Who can go? Pretty much any currently enrolled students that are enrolled at STHS can go. With seniors, class of 2020. Seniors can be a little tricky because it's technically after their graduation. I'll only allow seniors to go by interview. And that means I need to talk with them personally and their parents. And we need to discuss appropriate behavior and things along those lines. So it's not a party trip. This is not spring break. It's not the senior trip, when people talk about that little legendary bit of joy. That's a different trip than this one for sure. But seniors can go. What? Which one? This is the 2020 trip.
I honestly couldn't tell you.
Yes. This is the summer. It would be the summer after Travis graduates.
Yeah.
What was that? Pick a 10-day tour? What do you mean by short? As in only 10 days? Cost. That was literally the driving factor. We can make it 12 days if we as a group decide to. They have an extension on this tour to Prague. So you can go to another city and leave from Prague, which is an amazing city as well. But I didn't want to pick one that was super long because the cost starts to really skyrocket. And I want to make these available because it's more important that more kids go than less. Just because it's an opportunity that kids oftentimes don't get another way. So that's why. And if it really takes off and that's the desire, in a few years, maybe I'll make them longer. But anyway, there you go. And this is the kid trip. This is not a parent trip. This is a kid trip. So that's meant to be something about kids going with kids. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
It's next summer. It's not this summer. It's next summer.
I keep thinking it's 2018.
I know, right? It's kind of crazy how close that is. So yeah. So those of you that are sophomores, if there's sophomores in the room, we can talk about this, which would be done after your junior year. It could be part of your senior project. So that's kind of a cool opportunity. So a couple of things about what these tours and trips are like, just so you have appropriate expectations for it. You need to know that it's a tour. Tours are based on group travel. This is not a vacation. So tours are hectic. They're busy. You're going place to place to place. Vacation, you're sitting, relaxing. You can kind of do whatever you want to. Tours, it's got an itinerary. There's places you're supposed to go, times you're supposed to be there. There's 40 people on a bus. They're going to leave without you. Well, we can't really leave without you, but we're going to be really mad if you don't get there on time. You don't get to there's free times during these tours where let's say, oh, there's a 2-hour block here. We can explore the city or these neighborhoods, but it's not like, oh, it's Tuesday, I'm going to go wherever I want to. It's definitely more organized than that. And again, that's part of the making it a tour experience and not just a complete free for all. But it is kind of hectic. I mean, you're going from place to place. These are designed for teenagers, which is the other big reason why I don't let parents go, because adults, when they go, they get exhausted. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. You get up early, you go all day till you fall apart at night, and you get up the next day and you do it again. If you're over the age of 40, I'm insane. It's crazy, and it can be really, really tiring. And a lot of the adults just don't enjoy it the same way. They're not in that go, go, go frame of mind. It's the adults that typically want to be able to relax and kick back and kind of eat wherever they want and go wherever they want. So it's not meant for that sort of level of travel. So kind of be aware of that. And because it's group travel, there's a really good chance, like on our Costa Rica trip, when we're leaving next Friday, we'll be with 3 other groups that we're combined with from other schools here on the West Coast to make kind of one mega group. There's only 7, plus me is 8 from here that are going to Costa Rica because it's just it was a quick one. And so by the time they add all the groups together and the other chaperones, it's like 49 people. So group tours, right? Lots of people, lots of different personalities, which is actually really awesome because I've had some really permanent friendships that were made on these trips, that kids that kept going and talking with one another while they were even in college. So it's kind of cool to be able to see people from not just our school. And it also helps people from not just our school act a little bit more maturely when they're around people from other schools too. At least at first, but it's kind of a cool particular. So anyway, at least at first, yeah, those first couple of days, people are all serious, and then everyone has fun. These are actually 2 of my groups from previous trips that I've done at my other high school. So I used to work in Colorado, and I've led 5 or 6. I think this is my 6th EF tour. We went to China a couple years ago. It's another one I would love to do again. That's at the Coliseum in Rome. So, but again, just groups of kids going, and it was just a lot of fun. This was my full group. That's not my full group from that one. So anyway, just to kind of to see what that's like. But again, group tour, educational. We focus on seeing a lot of different places and learning things. I focus on leadership, culture, food, language, all that kind of stuff when we travel. Again, it's not just go be a stupid American and wander around and stomp on things. I don't believe in that. That's not how I live my life. If we're going to go a place like this, we're gonna be respectful and learn about what that is. That doesn't mean I'm going to sit there with a book and teach lessons while we're there, but it's inherently educational. But it's not a vacation. That makes sense. You go to a vacation to not be educated a lot of times. It feels like, all right. So just so you have an expectation for that. Again, where we're going. Again, we are going to Europe. Okay, that's part of Europe. France. Yeah, Canada's over here. Way over here. Yeah, no, I know. Just so you guys know, flying and jet lag and stuff is real for European trips. On the phone, Europe is 8 to 9 hours ahead, depending which part of Europe you're in. So trying to talk to somebody on the phone can be really challenging because morning over there is the end of the day here. At dinner time there, you're in bed. It can be a little awkward to kind of communicate over there. Again, it's kind of late. The flights are overnight, so you definitely kind of, I don't want to say lose a day, but it's definitely an overnight sleeping on the plane kind of flight. It's 10, 11-hour flight at minimum. That's if you fly direct, which we probably won't because we're on the West Coast. So, it can be a pretty long experience to get over there. But like I said, it's over in Europe and kind of a good variety of Europe. Like I said, it's pretty good, diverse kind of selection of it. And there's that word that's longer than my entire name. Neuschwanstein? Something like Neuschwanstein? There you go. Neuschwanstein. I love that. It's prettier than it looks by the word anyway. So anyway. So when are we going? It's going to be mid-July. There's a range. I'll show you how the range works. We won't know the exact departure dates until we get much closer to the trip because it depends on how many groups they're putting together and departure times and group flights and all that kind of stuff. But mid-July, so we're kind of aiming for that around the 14th of July destination, plus or minus about 5 days. But it's a 10-day trip, and we're leaving from San Francisco. We're not going to leave from Reno. That's about $250 difference. So that's why we'll go from there. But just so you have an idea how like the flight, the booking window works. The earliest we would leave would be here. The latest we would get back about there, but it's a 10-day 10-day range within that kind of zone. So I said mid-July. And as we get a little bit closer, it's a lot easier to nail down what that detail is. We're so far out right now. I can only give you a very broad idea of when it's going to be. So just kind of get an idea how that particular thing works. Why would we do this? Travel. To me, that's all the answer it needs. But there's a lot of things that students and people get. The whole idea about living in our world today is that we need to be better global citizens. We're part of a larger world. And seeing it in a book, seeing it on TV is just way different than being there, doing there, smelling it, seeing it, kicking it, tasting it, whatever you got to do with it. There's something very weird. The first time I got to Costa Rica a bunch of years ago, kid gets off the plane, goes, "Why are all the signs in Spanish?" Okay. And it was one of those, like, you just don't, there's some basic things that sometimes if you haven't been around, you don't really think about it. And then one of the biggest things that students get after this is when they come back, it's like, wow, I thought it was going to be so different. And it was so different, but the people were just like us. And that idea of kind of bringing the globe together and celebrating the diversity, but then realizing the commonality is just a really huge win for students today. Those aren't those people, those are us. They just have a little bit of a different accent to it. And then again, I wanted to remind you, class of 2021, this could be a big part of your senior project. Me and Mr. Kovac are conspiring on how to make this something that you can kind of build into that process, which would be really nice. Also want to remind you, one of the big pushes in our district has been the Viking Graduate Profile. And if you take a look at the qualities that our community has said that they want our students to have when they graduate, international travel hits every single one of those. And it hits it in a very short time period. And you grow so much. The bang for the buck, so to speak, just in terms of 10 days, kids come back different. And I mean that in a really good way. It's like your eyes have been opened. You just, all of a sudden you come back and you just don't look at being here the same way. It just gives you so many more opportunities and just kind of broadens your horizons in every possible cheesy metaphoric way. But again, if you look at all of those things, every one of those is dependent, is necessary to do a group tour like this and to get out of it in a really good way. So like I said, it's part of the goals that we want all of our students to have as they grow up, is to be able to experience some of these things. And, having a summer job doesn't really do it. It helps. But going on something like this, having a summer job will help you have this. But anyway, it's one of those things that it's part of that growth process. This is one of those. Okay. So when people start asking me, like, how much does it cost? We'll get there in a sec. What's all included in the prices when they do this? The way EF does their tours and the way they do their setup, the price that you have pays for almost everything. And it is pretty much an almost everything. All your airfare, all your hotels, 2 of your 3 meals. It does not pay for lunch, which is actually a really good thing, because then you actually have an opportunity to go explore different things and eat at little street fairs and all this stuff. It's not a prescribed lunch. Breakfast and dinner, you're sitting down and they're serving you whatever the weird meal of the day is. And so you're like, I don't know that, it can be a little bit different, but that lunch being open is actually a benefit here, because that way you can eat as much as you want, as little as you want, whatever variety you want, experimentally or not, in terms of flavors, that kind of stuff. It also includes all of the admissions. So like when you're talking about getting into the Louvre, that's already in there. What?
What if you have dietary?
Dietary restrictions, we can clear those ahead of time with our tour director so that there's available options like vegetarian and gluten-free and that kind of stuff. And then we can kind of watch out for it. Does that answer your question? Yeah, for sure. You wouldn't be the first or the last. Not at all. What else does it include? The other big part that it includes, all of your transportation once you get over there. So like on this tour, we take a train through the tunnel from London to Paris. So that's part of it. You don't have to like pay, you don't have to like show up and like buy a ticket. Pays for all of your metro tickets like in Paris, or your subway, the tube tickets when you're in London. Pays for your bus and all the different things that are going along with that. But it also pays for, number one, you get a 24/7 tour director. That's not me, but that's the person that works for EF. Speaks the local languages, knows the areas, has all the connections, knows where to go next, all that kind of stuff. That person's always with us. They stay in the hotel, they're on the bus, they go on the tours. So you're never like just with me wandering around going, I don't know. There's always somebody there. That's a big part of what you pay for. It also pays for those professional bus drivers, which depending on where you go, if you've ever driven in Europe, you want someone else to drive. I don't want to drive in Europe. So having a professional bus driver as local guys is a really key part of that as well. And a lot of times, one of the things that's really fun is that when you go on these tours, depending on the personalities, the kids actually kind of get attached to the tour directors and the bus drivers, because some of them are really fun. And it depends. I've had some bus drivers that were really standoffish, kind of did their own thing. They just drove. And I've had some that were like in there playing soccer with us and goofing around and tell us jokes. So you can have a really good time with those guys. It also pays for your local tour, guided tours. So like when you're in London, you'll go on a guided tour of London. So there'll be a dude from London who's a London expert, gets on the bus with us or gets on the walking tour with us and goes around with you. So we're pretty much completely chaperoned in a good way the whole time that we're there. That also means that if something goes wrong, that you've got that person with you. You're not trying to figure out, I don't know how to dial a phone in Germany. There's a person there that knows how to make those connections, knows where the consulates are and the embassies are, knows how to deal with navigating medical systems and that kind of stuff in those countries. So that's a big part. I know that you can do these trips cheaper. If you go and book it out individually, you can probably find cheaper tickets, probably find cheaper hotels, but they're trying to put that package together with that safety piece of having those local guides and all of that prearranged in advance. That's kind of where all the funding and stuff comes from. I would suggest, there's a couple of things, but I would suggest this thing right here, the global travel protection plan. They're kind of travel insurance kind of thing. If you don't have travel insurance in your way that you pay for it, that really helps. So if something goes along the lines where you lose your job between now and then, you can get your trip refunded. You lose your suitcase, it gets lost by the airline, something like that. It helps to pay for some of that. You break your leg or get sick or something like that, can't go the last second. It does help to pay for that. So just kind of be aware that can be something that's not included. You have to add that yourself. Is there anything else? There you go. The couple of things that you got to do, you have to make sure you have a passport. I don't think we'll need visas for this one, but you do have to have a passport. Passport has to be good for 6 months after you get back. Full 6 months after you return. So it's important to check your expiration dates. So that's roughly, weird to say it, January of 2021 is when the passport had to be good for, or you have to renew it before you go. So that's one of the things that can be kind of a trick. Baggage fees. If you check bags, airlines nowadays, that's not included anymore. Sometimes they are, sometimes not. So it can be up to $30 a flight. Each way, I should say, to check bags. So we'll see that as we get closer to it. Doesn't include lunches and snacks, so you can pay for your lunches, whatever you want to eat. Spending money, souvenirs, that kind of stuff, that's up to you. And then tips is something that's kind of an important part of this. In most of the world, you tip your tour guides, you tip your drivers, you tip the director, the guys that are kind of leading you around. It ends up being a little bit less than $10 a day for tips. So just in terms of kind of headwise, it's about $100 total for the trip. And that goes, like I said, tour director, bus driver, local drivers, local tour guides, those sorts of things. So in terms of what you would need, this can be as much or as little as you want it to be. Other than passports, about, what, 110, I think, is a passport nowadays. Airport baggage fees about 30. Lunches and snacks, I don't know how much you eat. I don't want to know how much you eat. I'll probably have to see it. Spending money, as much or as little as you want. I've done trips like this on less than $20 a day. You can do it on as much as you want. Not my problem. But anyway, there's that. So like I said, it's a decent value. Like I said, I hate talking about money. It's always that bottom line. How much is it going to cost? I'll get there. How can we pay for it? Looks really good to put it this way. Love the sound of that. They have payment plans. And then one of the reasons why I'm trying to do this enrollment thing now is that if you start now and spread it out over a year and a half of payment, it's a little bit easier. Parents, you can make your kids get a summer job. They can help. It's not fair for them to show up in September. I got to go to Europe this summer. No, I couldn't afford that either. And so if you spread it out, it's relatively reasonable in terms of what it is. I know that's the number you're looking for. So in terms of that's the actual total cost of it. That includes all the stuff that we just kind of talked about. So that's the basic price. It's a kind of a scary number. But like I said, if you think about it in terms of kind of paying it out over time, it becomes more affordable. So that becomes summer break, I said summer jobs, Christmas presents, birthday presents, graduation presents, all those sorts of stuff. You can kind of add it up. And one of the things that's kind of cool about EF now is that they have, they kind of do like a little GoFundMe page. That's kind of a part of their tour setup. So if you know what GoFundMe is, it's a way they can kind of put it out there. It's built into the EF website. They have a different name for it because it's their little proprietary platform. But it's a way to share with families and friends and things like that. If you want people to, say, sponsor you, if you have businesses or local organizations that you want to approach to help sponsor you as opposed to sponsor the group, there's a way that you can kind of have people kind of pay right into that. And like I said, it can be a nice way to do collections on that. But like I said, I know it's a scary number. I like that number. If it was my kid, I could do that number. That's for me in terms of thinking this out. My kid comes to me in November and goes, I want to go for this $3,000, $4,000 trip in the next month. I'm like, oh my God, that's $800 $800 a month. I can't do that because I have to eat too. So anyway, that's kind of that's the funding in terms of what it is. So again, just to try to kind of guard your time in terms of getting out of here. If you want to look up more information, that thing that I gave to you guys has this tour number on it. And that's the key thing, is that little number, this 219 scary looking thing, because that's our tour. That's with me attached to it, and that's with our stuff attached to it. And that price that I put up there. The kind of nice things, I talked to my tour person at EF, and if you sign up by the 8th, you get $100 off. And then if you sign up tonight, you can get another $50 off. There's an excursion that's added onto it, the Paris by Night excursion. I'll talk about that in a sec. That she said, fine, I'll put that in there too. So it's just a little bonus if you're thinking like, yeah, we really want to do this. You've got about 2 weeks or so. April 8th is during spring break for us. Pretty sure. I think it's right in the middle of spring break. So during that time, it's after finals. But if you think about it, it's a way to save a couple of extra bucks if you're thinking about it to kind of get in there. So you can go to eftours.com, go to enroll. It sounds really scary. It doesn't mean you're actually enrolling. There's a view tour part where you can kind of see more details about it, and I'll show you what that looks like if you've gone on and searched around. But that's the number that you need. And again, it's on that little flyer if you want to, or you can email me and I can give you that. And I can show you how to enroll too. But it's not a hard process. I think to enroll, they ask for a $95 deposit, just so you know. So they want that up front. Like, that's that honest money that you're going to be there. If you cancel, like you decide to enroll and you can't do it, you think over the summer, like, what were we thinking? There's cancellation policies, so there's a way to get out of it. I think you forfeit the $95, but there is a way to kind of get on there if you want to explore that. But if you just do view tour, you can just see it. You don't actually have to enroll. And like I said, it sounds really weird. Like, I have to enroll to see this? No, you don't. You can just go to the view tour part of it. So questions before we kind of get into I think this is the early duck out part. Yep. This is the early duck out part. If you want to leave now is a quick time to get out if you need to. Like I said, if you're looking at snow, you're looking at time, it's just a little bit after 6. But we got some more time if we want to. All right. So I'll play this actually towards the end while people have questions, because it's like a 10 or 11 minute video of highlights and stuff like that. I'll come back to this. So where are we going? If you wanted to know, this is kind of the itinerary stuff, all the places that we're going. Anybody have questions yet? Stunned. Yeah, here, I can take it. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I'll do a collection right here. So if anybody needs to duck out, let's do that. Yeah, what is it?
In terms of like, when you have the money, like, how do you pay it? Like, you have that money, how do you give it back?
Gotcha. You don't have to do a monthly payment plan. They do have installments, like quarterly installments. They have like you can pay it as a lump sum. Typically you do it via credit card is the way they do it. They will also take checks where you can mail them in old school style. Does that make sense? If you're trying to do it with cash, then I would probably convert that to something a little bit more durable for mail or something like that if you want to do that. Does that work? Okay. So they do have options there. What? Yeah.
Will there be time to, like, this sounds weird, but will there be time to, like, shop while we're
Oh, yeah. Yeah, good question. So, like, okay, so like this kind of afternoon, like day 2 when you're taking a walking tour, when you're taking a guided tour, a lot of times in the afternoons, there's more time. So like you'll do a guided tour, you're like on a bus driving around, and then they almost always in every city will say, all right, you got a 2-hour window here to go shopping, or maybe it's a half a day. It could be an afternoon. Where you're like, yeah, after lunch, you guys are free to kind of explore this neighborhood on your own. I know in Paris, they do that for sure. There's almost like a free afternoon. There's little places to go all the time, for sure. So it's not like literally minute by minute by minute. You're always packed in there. There's lots of little bits and stuff. And they're really good about, communicating kind of when those places are. Yeah. Other questions? Good stuff? Okay. So some of the cool stuff we get to do there, all the big places. So you have Big Ben, by the way. Big Ben is not the tower. It's the bell. Not even the clock, which is kind of funny. Everyone thinks it's not. Piccadilly Circus is like the main area. St. Paul's Cathedral is a big, huge cathedral that's in there. You're going nuts over the old buildings. You would love. This would be making you insane. Hopefully you get to see Changing of the Guard. It depends on what day that you're there. And then you get to, like I said, it's about a 2-day a day and a half, I think, in London. So this is a full day in London. This time is when we arrive. So sometimes it's in the morning, sometimes it's noon, depends on when the flights are. But then you get to kind of go cruise around the afternoon. And then the next day we get to go ride the train to Paris, which is really cool to get up, go ride the train. It goes through the tunnel, then goes through the kind of the Paris countryside, kind of gets over there. When you get to When you get to Paris, this is like the main area, downtown Paris, kind of where all the famous buildings are, including Notre Dame Cathedral. The Sorbonne is down there. No, said that wrong. No, I think Sorbonne's down there. Latin Quarter's down there. Arc de Triomphe is down there, but you drive to that the next day. It's not a great place to walk to. It's a huge plaza. Get to go to Louvre that afternoon and go tour around inside there. See Mona Lisa, by the way. It's a lot smaller than you think.
I know. I would literally not even go see it.
Yeah, it's
super disappointing.
yeah, it's behind a glass box and like 8,000 Chinese tourists. Oh, for sure. Yeah, and we as we travel, we talk a lot about safety, like when to guard, when not to guard. Our tour directors are really good about that, about like how to travel safely and not get pickpocketed. And not there's a couple kind of places in France where there's a scam where there's people selling bracelets, and oh yeah, neat little bracelet. It's a little cheap bracelet, but then they won't let go of your hand unless you give them like $20. Like yeah, so they're really good about kind of warning you where those places are. Like just say no, just no, and walk away. But yeah, definitely in the museum, there's so many people, you can get pickpocketed really easily there. But that's a good life lesson. Bus tour Paris, you get to go cruise around there. Time to explore on your own, right? So time to explore on your own. They have a spot there where you can go kind of ride around and see what you want to do. Day 6 is kind of a driving day because this is where we go from northern France all the way over to Switzerland. So that's kind of a long drive through the countryside where they stop in different places. It's not like you're literally on the bus for like 20 hours. I think it's about 8 hours total, but they stop at different spots and you get lunch and you go see this little spot and you go to the next spot and go to the bathroom and buy a snack and, all those sorts of things when they go through. They're really good about breaking those days up pretty well. In Switzerland, we get to go on the guided tour. So the word guided usually means it's on a bus, depending. But you get to go see kind of some of this is the bridge. That's the big lake. There's a big plaza that's up in there. And then one of the things I had them add to the tour, if you go on to EF, I forgot to put the Paris by Night on there, on the other one. Paris by Night is a boat trip. So you actually get to go on one of the little bateau mouches, the little tourist boats that go down the Seine River. And it's at night, so the Notre Dame is all lit up, and you see the Eiffel Tower all lit up. It's absolutely just a really gorgeous, kind of relaxing ride on the river. There's always a guide on the boat that kind of tells you what all the different places are that you're seeing, and it's pretty incredible. And this one, the Swiss Alps experience, is one that I had them add on to it because you can't go up there without getting up into the mountains, and I wanted to make sure we had a chance to really go see some of the tallest peaks. So I know it's really small. Again, you can look at it, but you get to actually go up in little cog trains. If you've ever seen these little cog trains, they're insane. These little nasty. It's like a train crossed with a roller coaster. They're fun. Yeah, if you're afraid of heights, it'll be entertaining. Anyway, but you get to go on hikes up in there. I mean, you're up in those high villages. It's the classic Swiss village kind of experience that's up there. So I didn't want to miss that. I felt that was worth it to make sure that if we were going to go there, that we kind of all put that on there. We have a travel day then afterwards. So we get to go to Liechtenstein, yes, the Principality of Liechtenstein. And that's where you get to go see the castle's right on the border there. You get to go check that out. And you get to go in the castle and tour around and go up in the tower inside of there. And then the next day we get to go to Munich and all the big spots in Munich, the big plazas and things like that. Get to go see the Olympic Stadium and some of the new stuff that's on there. One of the other reasons why I picked this particular tour is because of some of the things that we've been doing here at school the last couple of years. We've had a survivor from the concentration camp speak at our school. We've got the play Anne Frank is being played on right now. There's kind of a theme that we've got. And one of the cool things about this tour is that we do get to actually go to Dachau, the concentration camp where they have a memorial. And you spend, not a whole lot of time there, but an hour or two on the tour to kind of see what that's really like. And that's a profound experience. It's not a fun time, but it's profound. It's deeply affecting to get to go see that. And so that's not the last thing that we do, but and then we get to go to the Opera House and go and have pretzels and all that kind of stuff. And then that last day is the fly back. So it's a pretty whirlwind tour. Kids, when they get back at the end of this, they're going to be just fried. I mean, done for a couple of days between the jet lag and the exhaustion and just the excitement and the letdown from being back home. definitely don't want to try to go to work the next day after that. So that's kind of what that part is. And I'm trying to think what else I did on here. If you want, I'll go back and play that little video because it's kind of fun. But that's pretty much it, unless you have some particular questions that you guys have. Where did it go? I'm hitting the wrong one. There we go. This is the kind of the fun, longer one that they've got put together. So I can kind of let this play in the background. Highlights of. Come on. Go big. Okay, I'll just leave it small then. It's going to be like that. Okay. So it's a little bit on the small side, but you can kind of see some of the places that we're going to go. It's kind of quiet. Hold on. I'm going to do this so I can make it louder. But this kind of shows like the full, kind of the full experience. That's their tour director that they're meeting, and that's the dude that's with them the whole time.
British.
Yeah. Questions, anybody? Anything specific? Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Nice to meet you. Good to have you here. Thank you for coming tonight. Have a good night. Good for you, Dad. Have a good night. I'm on your way.
You look on here and I see Big Ben. You recognize what's behind me? Big Ben, you're all totally wrong. Big Ben is only the bell. Look at the tower and add it to Westminster. This is Buckingham Palace. We're waiting for the guard to change. And they're not just ceremonial soldiers. They've been to Iraq. They've been to Afghanistan. They are in elite regiments.
The tour directors are really good about finding the right spot to stand and kind of getting you to the front because it can be super crowded to go see the changing of the guard, like hundreds of people. I would definitely say eat fish and chips for lunch when you have a chance to get it fresh on the street. So good.
Okay, guys, so you're experiencing the quintessential experience.
Oh my God.
You realise that we obsess about our tea rates.
English tea, which is a whole lot different than the tea in America, just because it's something to actually appreciate here. It's really good.
It's a big thing, you know, you invite your family round, you invite them out for tea.
And the first time they get to see that is amazing.
Yeah, there's like stop. But like this right here, the guidance first.
Go do tea or do an experience or go get Indian food.
Even myself would like to welcome you in Paris. And now Notre Dame de Paris Cathedral. To have such large windows, we needed to have the creation of the flying buttresses to support the weight of the heavy stones.
It's so beautiful. Can you believe that people built something this high and this massive 700 years ago?
Many people like you were just born into working, building on this, and then died working. It's like they didn't even have to see it, and then we just come along and we get to see this.
That statement that kid made right there, like people born, worked on it, and died and never saw it finished. Those little comments that sometimes kids make when they're traveling, you just don't get that from a book. 700 years ago, it doesn't sound like much. But it's always amazing when I travel and you hear kids go, whoa, like, dude, this cathedral's been here longer than our country's been a country.
It
Yeah.
started construction in 1164.
Yeah. I mean, way before there was anybody even on our continent. I mean, white people. So, I mean, there's plenty of people here, but yeah, not Europeans. Anyway, so, you know, it's one of those kinds of experiences, that little quote in there, that kind of gets me every time because I've heard kids have that statement And that's so deep for kids when they do that stuff. The dorkiest thing, when I was a junior in high school, and I went on this trip with my mom. Got to go by accident. It was a French class. I was in French 3, whatever, is all the way through high school. We were going to France to go for the French tour. My French teacher got sick and couldn't go and needed a volunteer to go. I grew up lower middle class. This trip was like the thing we saved up for a long time. It was my graduation present, even though it was my junior year. It was the thing. And I was going to go. And then all of a sudden this gal got sick and my mom got to go too. She took the place and it was a really cool experience, but it was never what we had planned. It wasn't like a family trip for her. It wasn't intended to be that way, but she got to go as the adult chaperone. She spoke no French. So I was the French person, right? I'll never forget seeing the Eiffel Tower the first time going, it's brown. I thought it was black. I mean, you see pictures of it. I never really thought about what color it was. And again, it was one of those things that even for me, that long ago, which is longer than I'd like to admit, that long ago, I still have that very clear, whoa, it's brown. I mean, those kind of little things sometimes, those stick with you forever. And nothing could ever take that away from me. I had a choice between this trip and a car. So the car is long gone. I still remember it's brown. that changes you in a way that's permanent, that cannot ever be taken away. So like I said, just gotta remember that.
Welcome in Montmartre. Van Gogh, Monet, Cézanne, Pablo Picasso, all of them spent years in Montmartre. Why don't we get a crepe? You're gonna order in French?
Right. Oh, they're so good. Oh.
Je voudrais crème chocolat, s'il vous plaît. Merci.
Well done. That was good.
Good.
He's really French.
So this is what I look like as a cartoon. I think it's pretty accurate.
They do. They have a lot of street artists in that area. You can get little cartoons and stuff like that. That's really fun.
You are now in the Louvre. In this building, you can see the most famous pieces of art of the entire world.
We have artwork that spans an amazing amount of history.
This is an opportunity incredible for you. Many people around the world would die to get a chance to be in the Louvre. You are so lucky, so take your time. Try to feel art.
She's right down there calling my name.
Can't see everything.
Like the most amazing experience, just to know that I get to see a part of history. It's absolutely magnificent, beautiful.
This is like my first museum, so I mean, you might as well start at the Louvre, right?
Where can you go now?
We are now here in Bavaria. We say, Grüß Gott. All of this wonderful city today. Barbara here.
Hello everybody, welcome to Munich. We are here on Odeon Square. In the back, this is Theatina Church, very beautiful Baroque church, and we've got the royal residence on this side.
I'm in the residence right now. It's one of the coolest places ever.
So we're here on the main square of Munich, the Marienplatz.
How would you feel about growing up the oldest and the best church tower in the heart of Munich?
306 steps, and it was perfect to see this.
Guys, we are here at Munich's 27Mar. Can you look close at us? Okay. We are now about 45 minutes outside of Munich in the small city of
Dachau, it is associated with one thing and one thing only, the concentration camp memorial that is located here. This is the first map that we'll look at. It shows the town of Dachau, and it shows where the camp is. Why do I stress the fact that the camp is here, the town is here?
Do they know what's happening there?
That's the question, right? Did they know? Very tough question. It's always a question about why people didn't do anything about this, right?
Thou shalt not be a victim, thou shalt not be a perpetrator, but above all, thou shalt not be a bystander.
Because this is what it's all about. What can we do to prevent anything like this from ever happening again? Especially as we come to this next part, which is incredibly difficult to see, but also very important. I think this is the thing that I would
Pictures, researching it, but to actually just like stand where they've stood is pretty powerful.
I do hope that you can go back with this attitude of never again and never forget. With that, probably wrap it up and head back to the bus and head back into the city. We're ascending Neuschwanstein Castle the same way the king would have ascended. This is how the king would have. Why don't we go up and look inside the castle? Wow.
Oh my gosh. Guys, look, the waterfall's right below us.
That looks like a castle.
Opera Swan Castle. It's incredible. So right here, what I have for you is the fantastic Bavarian delicacy of the pretzel.
You have to be literally standing there and like seeing, smelling, tasting like what life is. You know, you can't get this from like a picture or like a video.
And I'm hopeful that this was just the first step in a series of many international experiences that each of you will have. All right, this is the part that I'm really not good at, which is saying goodbye. It was a real honor to accompany you through Germany. I'll say auf Wiedersehen. We'll see you again. Bye, guys.
So anyway, just a quick overview of some of the stuff that you get to see on a tour like this. It's a really fun, like I said, really fun, life-changing experience for kids, and just a great time. I'm looking forward to getting to do it. But again, I'm looking forward to seeing some new places I haven't been before. That I've run several of these tours before. This will be my second one here. So I said we're going to Costa Rica in a little bit. I have experience with this company and running these tours. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, it's been really rewarding to see what happens to the kids. A bunch of my kids that have been on these tours, I still keep in contact with. They have kids of their own now. Right. But it's don't care all about that. But like I said, it's an amazing experience. So anyway, it's an opportunity, and I'm here to answer questions for you, provide any more information. There's no hurry to sign up, but like I said, if you want to take advantage of some of those little early discounts, feel free. It's awesome. As long as we get 6 kids to go, the tour runs. If we get 30 kids to go, tour still runs. If that happens, my husband will be at least a male chaperone. And just so you guys know, for all the chaperones, we all have to go through background check. So it's not like just any old person can go on this, including any other adults that would sign up to go on this. So like if somebody else has a parent or something that's going, they have to. You don't just have kids and adults mixed randomly. They're pretty cautious about those sorts of things now. They're very safety conscious. And this company, again, they've been around since I was in high school, which is much longer than I'd like to say. But they've been doing this a very long time, and they kind of have it down. Some of the things that are not amazing about these tours, just so you know, it's a lot, and it's a lot fast. You go place to place to place. It's quick. It's frenetic. It's active. You never get enough of anything. Every single time, kids are like, God, I wish I'd spend more time here. God, I wish I'd spend more time there. It's meant to be a buffet. It's meant to be a little sampler of everything. Hotels in Europe are very different than hotels in the United States. That can be kind of surprising for students. Much smaller. They're literally meant to be sleeping rooms. They don't have air conditioning a lot of times. We're going in July. Little sweaty, yeah, we're going in July rather than June, by the way, simply because of The tours in June tend to be slammed. They are so overpopulated. It's a major travel month. July tends to be a little bit lighter. And so it tends to be a little bit better. But like I said, the hotels are small. There's, smaller beds. They're not luxurious. That's not how Europe is. The food tends to be semi-bland, like the dinners are not. You're not paying for the expensive dinners. If we all get together as a group, we can talk about upgrading, but I don't think that's something we really want to do. I encourage kids to really explore and have fun food for lunch. And then we just kind of eat the bland stuff, chicken and gravy with some weird vegetable on it for dinner. It's kind of gross, but it's not horrible. It's just not fabulous. It's not for, we're not paying for the highest class things there. But those are the only really downsides that I've seen to it. And then, like I said, sometimes if kids have the incorrect expectations that they think it's going to be a vacation, that they're going to have all of this free time, they're going to be able to do all this crazy stuff, or they're going to be able to bring all their friends, or kind of sneak off and do different things. That's not going to happen. That's not what these kind of tours are. I do run a pretty tight ship in general, even though I love to have a lot of fun. And I've been a teacher a long time. I kind of know the difference between the two of them. We'll talk about expectations with alcohol and things like that as we get close to the trip and see kind of what our groups are. But like I said, it's a pretty incredible opportunity to get going. I think anything else? You got questions on buses or transportation or hotels or flights or? Yeah, go for it. Maximum of 4 in any one hotel room. It's between 2 and 4. It depends on the room, how many beds there are. There have been, just so you know, there have been times where some of the hotel rooms, especially European hotels, where there's a double bed and there's 4 people, or 2 double beds and 4 people. So there may be a case where you have to sleep in a bed with another person, always same sex, always from within our group. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah.
When we get to pick the people,
Yeah, typically we pick who our roommates are. Yeah, and I kind of try to be thoughtful about who our group is and what the group dynamics are. I'm not gonna make you be with somebody you hate, but maybe I will. Exactly, but other than that, no. Oh, yeah, you get to pick. Okay. Other questions? Good stuff. It is terrifying. What am I thinking? Taking people here. It is super fun. Like I said, I'll tell you how the Costa Rica trip goes, and then maybe I'll cancel this one. No, no, I'm super excited. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. Right? No. I know. Couldn't do Europe this year. It was too soon, too expensive, too fast. All right, I'll turn these off. Yes.